Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Jace Young video. With it being Halloween day, I wanted to talk about something a little spooky. I wanted to talk about werewolves. I wanted to talk about vampires. And you know on this channel we love to talk about video games. So of course there's only one video game in particular that we can talk about today, and that is Castlevania. Now when it comes to Castlevania, I'm a bit of a noob, which might even be the reason you clicked on this video. You want to see a noob try Castlevania for the first time. And over the past 6-ish weeks, I played through a Castlevania game from start to finish, and I'm here to tell you my thoughts and walk you through what the entire experience was like. Now you see, I'm quite new to Castlevania. For those of you who don't know what Castlevania it is, you basically play as some form of a vampire slayer who's gone to slay the greatest vampire of them all, Dracula. Now choosing which Castlevania I wanted to play for this video was kind of the hard part. It's a little bit overwhelming to choose the Castlevania that you want. But luckily, I'm gonna link this video down below of this guy who goes through and talks about like all the Castlevania games. He said one of the greatest Castlevania games is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So I made up my mind. That was the game that I was gonna play. Basically, you can go onto the PlayStation Store or Nintendo eShop or wherever and buy a collection of Castlevania games together for like 20 bucks. So I bought the one called Castlevania Requiem, Symphony of the Night. Now, as I was downloading the game off the PlayStation Store, it has like a little trailer at the bottom. So I started watching it. And the more and more I was watching, I saw clips of a werewolf. I saw clips of Frankenstein. And I knew that this was a game that I was going to love. Well, turns out, as I did a little bit more research, the clips that it was showing in the trailer of the game I was super hyped about was not Symphony of the Night, but was actually Rondo of Blood. Now, I know Symphony of the Night is one of the greats, one that people love and say you have to try out if you're just getting into Castlevania. And so seeing that Frankenstein and werewolf scene, even though it was cool, I had to make a tough decision. And of course I chose Rondo of Blood. Are you kidding me? Of course I did. I had to fight the werewolf and I had to fight Frankenstein. Okay, so I have my handy dandy video notebook here with me again to help me through and kind of guide me of each section of Rondo of Blood and my talking points. Rondo of Blood has 9 different levels technically. It's really like 8. But there is a level 0, so that's where the 9 comes from. Okay, yeah, so this first level, nothing really happens. You're just kind of riding on this carriage while Death himself comes up to you and just kind of flies around, and then that's it. So it's not really a level, it's just a cutscene, but worth mentioning. Now, what's kind of cool about this game is it has like these anime-styled cutscenes that just randomly happen throughout the game. So it's a nice little touch that makes the game fun and exciting and kind of drives the story. Now, the actual first level that you go into is like this burning town. You just kind of travel throughout the city and you fight like different little skeletons and other monsters. Now, being a noob myself to Castlevania, I really didn't know much and just tried to kind of advance through the first level, and it really wasn't too hard. You fight a couple skeletons, a few bats fly by, you take them on, and throughout I realized there was like these little candlesticks that are on the map, and you hit these candlesticks and they drop like different items for you. But your main weapon of attack is like this like chain whip thing that you hit different monsters with. From what I've heard about Castlevania, like I thought it was known for being very difficult, but the first level was super easy and I felt like a champ going through it and just destroying everything. At the end there was like this dragon boss that flies across the sky. You like have to whip him with the chain and beat him. He really wasn't too tough. I felt like I was a champ and that this game was gonna be super easy. Now when it comes to the second level, it ramps up the difficulty, man. It was tough. It actually took me so many tries to beat this level, where the first level I was able to do in like 1 try. On the second level, you are at the entrance of Dracula's castle. So it starts out and you're like in this little courtyard and then you walk into the castle. There are some tough guys that you have to fight. In the first level, there's just like a few little bats, few little skeletons. No, this one, way tougher. There's like these little like ghouls. There's these flying eyeballs that are like trying to hit you in the face. There are these knights. I hate them. They are so tough. Took me a while to figure out how to fight the knight. And let me tell you, they come back later in the game and they're the worst. Now, about halfway through this level, you get to a place where like this giant ram starts chasing you. And so you have to run and jump over different obstacles. There's some of those ghouls in your way, and you kind of just have to, run for your life. Now, while I was doing that, I actually came across one of those little candlesticks, and I hit it to get a special item, and instead I was given a key which I didn't really know what I was supposed to do with. Well, later in the level, I actually came across this door that, you guessed it, needed a key. And after using that key, it took me into this room where this lady is just like floating. She's sitting there floating. And I thought, I just found out a major secret to the game. I am awesome. But when you get into this room and there's this little like girl floating trapped, you talk to her. Basically starts another one of those anime style cutscenes. And she's like, thank you for saving me. I am also gonna help you on your journey. And you're like, what? And then throughout the rest of the game, I actually found out you can use this girl as a character. So normally you play as Richter, who is a vampire hunter. He looks like this. If you've ever played Super Smash Bros, you might know who he is. But you get this lady, and I don't even know what her name is. I guess I should Google what her name is. Oh, her name is Maria. Okay, you have the option when starting up the game now to either be Richter or Maria. So I thought I'd give Maria a spin since as I was playing through this level, I died like 10 million times. And she's great. She can double jump. She throws these birds instead of a whip. And basically the level just got a whole lot easier when I decided to use Maria instead of Richter. Now what I failed to mention is before changing to Maria, I did actually reach the final boss, who was the werewolf that I saw in the trailer. And he has like this super sick cutscene that I'm gonna play for you guys. Like when he enters the boss fight, he's like standing on this hill in the back, and then he kind of rises up and jumps down and starts fighting you. Now the werewolf himself is like extremely hard. I could not take him. I got to him a few times, but he was way too tough to beat. Now finally, after some time, I decided to be Maria and made it to the very end of the level, and I actually defeated the werewolf. So yeah, it was awesome. Definitely a super fun level, but very, very difficult. And let me tell you, the game only got harder. The next level is called like the chapel or something like that. You go through this like chapel area of the castle, and at the end you have to fight this minotaur looking guy. And then let me tell you, this level was pretty tough. There's like these skeletons that swing from the sky like as if they're Tarzan, and they try and hit you, and they're pretty tough. And then later you get to these stairs and these monkeys start running down. I don't know what monkeys have to do with Dracula. Somebody please tell me down in the comments down below what's up with the monkeys. But like these monkeys, they're not that hard. They die in like one hit, but like if you miss them with the whip, they like start dodging all around you, jumping, and there's just nothing you can do, and they're just super annoying to fight. So I hate the monkeys. Now there's really not much more to say about this level. It actually didn't take me as many tries as the other one did. However, I did decide to go back to Richter because I did find out online that Maria is actually better than Richter and the game is easier. And I felt like I couldn't take a cop out, you know what I mean? I had to do it with Richter. So I switched back to him and played through the entire third level, and it only took me a few tries to actually beat this Minotaur boss. Next up after that was level 4. Now, if you thought level 2 was hard, you should quit the game now, because level 4 is crazy. In level 4, you're going through like the different halls of Dracula's castle. Now, the halls of Dracula's castle are like super interesting because this is when I figured out in the game the levels can actually branch off, and you may not play the same 9 levels as somebody else. In this level, there's actually like 3 different paths that you can take, and depending on which path you decide to take, it will take you to a different boss that you have to fight, and will potentially take you to a different level that you have to go through in the game. I think other levels might have this too, but this is the one where I noticed it in particular. So I actually tried multiple times taking different paths, but no matter what I did, I could not beat this level. It was so hard for me. I can't even tell you. And to make matters worse, like towards the end of the level, after you've already fought through like a bunch of tough monsters, including monkeys again, by the way, there's monkeys again in this level, you get to the very end and you have to fight a bunch of these knights again, the ones that throw the axes that I told you about before, and I hate them. You have to fight like so many of these knights in a row. So it was terrible. I hated all of the different knights. Now there was actually 2 different bosses that I fought in this level, and I decided to take a different path, go into this other boss battle that I had found earlier on, where you fight this lady that's sitting on like a like a floating skull. And throughout it, there's another lady that is like hostage in a chair. And after you fight the skull, you then have to go up to this lady, and then she tries to fight you. And she's like a ninja kind of, and like jumps all around. So needless to say, it's pretty tough. Now, the first time I went through this fight, I went through, beat the giant skull, and then I thought the lady was like somebody I had to save, or somebody who was like my friend or something. So I just walked down there and just stood in front of her, and then all of a sudden she started attacking me and instantly killed me. And guess what? That was game over. So I had to start the entire level over again. So when I say Castlevania is extremely punishing, that is so true. And I don't even think this Castlevania is up there with the most difficult ones. It was a fun time. I really enjoyed it, but man, is it difficult. Now, my second try, I made it back to this floating skull lady. I defeated her, defeated the ninja lady right after, and beat the level. And let me tell you, I felt super accomplished because that level took me days. This game, like I said, is only 9 levels long, and it took me more than 6 weeks to get through the entire game. So it's tough. Moving on to level 5, it was the ghost ship. You get out there, and it's like this ghost looking pirate ship. The first part of the level is like a little bit tough. There's a bunch of skulls flying at you. Once you make it through that portion of the level, I had kind of gotten a groove down and was able to get through the whole level fairly quickly. Like I said, the issue with this level is not really the journey itself. It's the ending that's tough. Earlier in the game, I told you in the prologue, you're just riding on this carriage and Death himself flies up to you. Well, guess what? This is your time to actually fight Death, and he is so hard. To get to Death, you basically climb to the very top of the ship, and you are up there fighting him. And while he's flying around, he's also spawning like these little like knives that are flying at you. So you not only have to hit him, but you have to dodge the knives. And to make matters even worse, if you mistime a jump, then you accidentally jump off the entire map and die. Now, I played through this level so many times, and I really questioned if I would ever be able to beat Death, and if I should just give up on this entire game, because he was so tough. But one of the fun parts of Castlevania is when you are in these very tough boss fights and you really like lock in, and all of a sudden you're dodging knives, you're hitting him in the face with your chain, he's doing his other forms, he's in his second form, he's in his third form, and you keep fighting him, and somehow you're like dodging all these moves you've never been able to dodge in your entire life, and you just feel like a beast. And then the most rewarding part is when you defeat the actual boss. And that's really the part of Castlevania that I loved, was it was so challenging, but when you locked in and were able to defeat the boss, it was so rewarding and super fun. Okay, now the next level of this game is super interesting. It is not like any of the other levels that I played in this game. It starts out and all of a sudden you walk through a door and you are in the boss fight. So once you get into this boss room, all of a sudden there is this like wizard guy. Basically, this entire level is him shape-shifting into different bosses that you then have to fight. So it starts out and he turns into like a giant bat. After defeating the bat, he then turns into like the snake monster that you have to fight, and the snake monster is tough. Now, if you're good enough at the game to defeat the snake monster, you then have to fight a mummy who like shoots these blocks at you and you have to jump over them, and there's so much dodging that is involved in fighting the mummy. He was so tough. It took me so many tries. And with this level, I just didn't know when it was gonna end. So as I'm fighting these bosses, I'm just really struggling because I'm hoping this mummy guy is the final guy, but I keep dying to the snake guy. So on the times that I'm even lucky to get past the snake, I instantly die to the mummy guy. Well, I kind of figured out a little bit of a trick on the mummy. He throws a lot of different things at you, but he himself is not that strong. If you just hit him with your whip really fast, you can kill the mummy fairly quickly. After defeating the mummy, I thought the level was going to be over, but it wasn't. Remember that special Frankenstein that I was so anxious to fight at the beginning of the game? Well, here's the time. The mummy transforms into Frankenstein himself, who is giant, and you have to fight him. I made it to Frankenstein many different times, but I kept dying to him, and then you have to do the whole fight over again with all of the different bosses. Again, super punishing. Well, finally, I defeated Frankenstein himself, and I felt awesome. I thought that had to be it. Well, it's not, because the wizard just turns back into himself, and now you have to fight him, and he instantly killed me. But luckily, for some reason, after you defeat Frankenstein, you don't have to do any of the other bosses again. Once the level restarts, I only had to fight the wizard. So I went in there, I beat the wizard first try. After that. Isn't that awesome? This level itself was awesome and I really enjoyed it, but it was super difficult. But it was a fun way to kind of switch up the monotony of the game of just going through level to level. You then make it to the clock tower. Let me tell you, the clock tower is tough. You have to run across this bridge that is collapsing while a bunch of bats that are giant are flying at you. And some of these bats have swords for some reason. Needless to say, I died at this part many, many times. After making it past the bat part, you then travel through this entire clock tower. It's not great. I honestly didn't love this level. There's lots of different like water skulls that you have to fight throughout. If you're lucky enough to make it past there, you get to this terrible part where, you guessed it, there are more knights. They have these giant swords and they take like 10 million hits to kill. After defeating all of those knights, I made it to the final boss. And this guy's tough. He's just like a little cloak that flies around, but he basically summons a billion different monsters that are trying to kill you at once. So sometimes there's like this minotaur that comes from the ground, tries to kill you. A dragon that flies in the air, shoots fire. All of his moves feel super unavoidable. And you guessed it, I again died a million times. But again, in classic Castlevania fashion, there was one particular playthrough where I really just locked it in. I was dodging dragons. I was dodging minotaurs. I was whacking this cloak guy and I beat him. It was awesome. I felt so cool. And then I made it to the final level of Castlevania titled Bloodlines. This is the part in the game where you finally fight Dracula. And let me tell you, he is tough. This Dracula is so tough that I have attempted to face him myself countless times, and I have lost. In fact, I sit here before you today and tell you I have yet to beat Dracula. So, who wants to slay a vampire? Here we go. Gosh, it's been a second since I played, bro. I know I'm gonna be rusty. Okay, we gotta use the holy water. I remember the holy water was like the key. Bro, he's so tough to hit, I remember. FYI, my brother always says to me, you never finish games. I can hear him, Parker, in my head right now. Shiz. I was a lot better at this back in the day when I first was trying it. Now it's been too long. I'm too rusty at Castlevania, bro. Wow, I just jumped over the fire there. That was lucky. Okay, see, that's what you gotta be. You gotta be careful of that move. That's good. This is only his first form. I've never made it past his next form. I've made it past the first form, but I've never made it past the second form. I'm the best Castlevania player this world's ever seen. Backflip. Sometimes you're cool and you just do a backflip. You don't really know how you do it, you just do it. That's what this game is all about. I hate Dracula, man. I hate him so much. I hate him. Okay, final form, and we have a decent amount of health. Well, it's second form. I don't know if it's final. Don't get too cocky. Oh my, oh, watch out for lightning bolts. Nothing you can do there. Nothing you can do there. You should have got... It's hard. It's so hard. I always like sit under him and then he get hit by the... I keep calling it his Achilles. It's his calf. It's his calf that hits you. Watch out, meteors. Backflip it. I didn't backflip, but that's okay. One more. Just one more. This boy's a one tap right now. Okay. Okay. If you even have the slightest hesitation in your body, you'll miss him. Come on. No! Oh, it was so close. It was so close. I should have just gone for it. I played conservative, though. It's so close on this guy. Needless to say, at this moment, I wanted to give up. I wanted to quit. It was too hard, and I didn't think I could go any further. Maybe Dracula had me beat. I decided to give it one last try, and this time, I remembered something important, and that is what changed everything. When you are in these very tough boss fights and you really like lock in and dodging all these moves you've never been able to dodge in your entire life, and you just feel like a beast, and all of a sudden you're dodging knives, you're hitting him in the face with your chain, he's doing his other forms, he's in his second form, he's in his third form, and you keep fighting him. And then the most rewarding part is when you defeat the actual boss.
No. Is that it? Oh! I did it! Oh my gosh! Oh, look how much health I have, bro! Yes! I'm locked in, dude! Yes! Ah! Take that, Parker, who says I never beat games. Oh, let's go! Yeah! Dude, I did it! I beat the game! I beat Castlevania.
Now, real quick before signing off, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to you guys. If you've watched any of the 5 videos that I've posted in the last month, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being willing to watch something that I put out, and it's just cool to me to see all of these different views or comments from people that I don't even know watching my videos and enjoying something that I made. So thank you guys so much. Now, I will say creating 1 video a week has been very tiring for me and tough to do. So I will not be keeping up with this schedule, but moving forward, I will still have lots of content for you guys. I'm just gonna give myself a little bit more breathing room in between videos to recuperate and take the time to make the next videos even better. So there is lots going on here on the channel. Please go ahead and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.